So I was looking into something that I saw that was a bit of an update, and I wanted to do a little bit of research before I went and did a video about it. I sort of added a blurb to it to an overnight gaming news thing, but I felt like it deserved its own video because of the significance of it and how it always goes in line with us as fans and what we expect with the new console generation. And I think that this is blowing me away because I'm honestly still looking, and I've asked around, and a couple of people have mentioned that, you know, that this is accurate. So I find this to be very, very cool, and I find this to be something that, you know, I'm wondering why there aren't a lot more people talking about it, you know. And again, this is something that, you know, that it really kind of blows my mind, and I'm sure you guys might be kind of mind blown by this as well. To be honest with you, it sounds awesome. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here, Crapgamer Reviews, obviously, with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about was I'm looking into the situation with 60 frames per second games. Now, if you remember, leading up to the launch of the PlayStation 5, there was a lot of controversy where people thought that the PlayStation 5 games, in particular the first party, were all aiming for 30 frames per second, because I think Digital Foundry did a video or something like that where they were talking about 30 frames per second. Now, to be clear, I am not 100% sure of this, but looking at all the data that I have in front of me, all the PS5 games are 60 frames per second. Every PS5 game. Every game that has been made for the PS5 specifically this generation. Yes, there's past generation ones that maybe run 30, but all new games have a 60 frames per second option. And I find this to be pretty incredible. The last big update, which is going to be Watch Dogs Legion, is getting a 60 frames update on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. Obviously, this is huge news because this will mean that all the major significant releases for PlayStation 5 are indeed 60 frames per second, which really falls in line with, I think, what a lot of people thought would be the, you know, frame rate going forward. And, you know, I think that that says a lot to, you know, to about gamers and about what we expect in general, you know, and it makes me extremely happy to kind of see that and the way that fans are kind of responded to that, because I think we all wanted, you know, the best frame rates that we could possibly have. And for me personally, this just really makes me happy and excited to see that this is actually the case here. And again, I wanted to dive into it as soon as I could because I just felt like it was that big of news. So Watch Dogs Legion will be getting an update to allow the game to run at 60 FPS on the PlayStation 5. While developer Ubisoft Toronto couldn't promise when that update would be, they did say that the feature is currently in development. The exact date for the release of the 60 FPS graphics on the PS5 will be announced in a future update, which I think is very cool that they were able to do this. And now we have an idea that patch 4.5 adds 60 frames per second mode on the PlayStation 5 and the Series X. I wanted to point this out because as far as I could tell, the Series X does have a lot of 60 frames, 120 frame games as well. But the big one holding it back is the medium, which runs at a staggeringly slow 30 frames per second. So yeah, that would make the PlayStation 5 the only next-gen console that runs every game at least 60 frames. Again, you can have 30 frames per second options in some of these games, but seeing this news is actually blowing my mind. The headline addition is to 60 FPS performance mode on the PS5 and the Series X. Ubisoft said that it's one of the biggest requests from our next-gen console players. Now, as reported last year's Watch Dogs Legions launched at 30 frames per second on all three next-gen systems. And they asked at that time, I wonder if an optional performance mode could deliver 60 FPS gameplay too, according to Digital Foundry. Now, according to the configuration files on PC, there was a 60 frames per second mode in the works for PS5 and Series X at some point, but that is not the case in the final version of the game, and perhaps that it will arrive later on at some point. And that was said last year when the game launched. So to see this, it's absolutely incredible. Ubisoft has yet to announce a launch date for update 4.5, but it said patch notes will be published closer to launch. This week, Ubisoft reiterated that the Watch Dogs Legion's Bloodline DLC will come out before the end of June. This adds a new storyline that includes Aiden Pierce from the original Watch Dogs game into the wrench from Watch Dogs 2, both fully playable in single-player campaign and online. So, what's the significance of this? Well, I think, we were all promised a lot of stuff every generation. Let's just be real. We kind of see this kind of stuff happen all the time, and we get promised the moon, and they don't actually, deliver what they actually want, or what they've actually said. But yeah, it looks like we're getting a lot of great information, and a lot of great performances are coming from the Xbox and from the PlayStation side of things. Again, I think the main thing holding back the Xbox is the situation with the medium, which is kind of bogging down everything. So yeah, very interesting to say the least. But I think that this really goes along to show that, they were very much honest about what was kind of going on with this. And I think that it's really a kind of a godsend that we're getting so many great games that are focusing and giving us options as gamers, and I love that. You know what I mean? I think that that's exactly what we needed, and that's exactly what what fans kind of wanted to see in the first place. So I do think that this is something that fans, I think, will be talking about for a long time. And I think that, gamers in general are going to be excited about the future of the platform, seeing that, we're getting these type of games. For me personally, it's such a strange thing because, even if you go back and play something like Ghost of Tsushima, which again, that got the unlocked frame rate up, and it goes up to 60 thanks to basically just the better hardware of the PS5, whereas it couldn't do that on a PS4, and it's just a different experience, And I'm a console gamer, and I'm always loved console gaming, and love console gaming the way that, that realistically, they've just done a really good job of kind of making console gaming such an amazing experience, and with just how easy it is and how compact it is and things like that. And I just love the fact that we were able to see so many great games get performance enhancements, and then really listening to what the fans are asking for in general. And I absolutely think that's fantastic because, at the end of the day, listening to your fans is what it's all about. And, I think that, gamers in general are going to continue to ask these things of these companies. We really want, gaming to continue to grow and to continue to flourish, and I think that that's going to be something that we see where these companies continue to listen to what we're asking for and continue to deliver for us. So I think that that's something that all gamers can kind of agree on and be thankful for. And so it blows my mind that we see every major game on PlayStation 5 has a 60 frames option. Think about that for a minute. I don't think that I believed in any world possible that we'd see that on a console, especially given where people were at the beginning, right before this generation launched. So, you guys really, really have to appreciate what's going on, and I think that at the same time, I'm really thankful that this is sort of where we're living right now, where, all these games are kind of coming together and we're getting great performance, and they look great and they play great. And, as console gamers, I know, like, if you're a PC gamer, you're like, well, welcome to our world, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. But for us console gamers, finally, it seems like we're getting what we paid for with our consoles, and it's just absolutely brilliant, man, to think that, for $399, somebody on a PlayStation 5 digital can get, 60 frames, 120 frames, 4K, HDR, all this kind of things that normally you wouldn't think you get. Ray tracing. I mean, think about that. Both Xbox and PlayStation 5 are offering things that take, at least $1,000 on the PC side of things. And, and again, it's like a parody situation. Like everybody else that has a PS5 can get that, or everybody else that has a Series X or whatever can get that. So it's not like you have to turn down everything and turn off foliage or anything like that. So it's just really just blows my mind to see that we're getting such a great experience across the board. And I will link this. You guys can check it out. Please let me know what you think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.